Hi everyone, Fox 61 Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank here on the Weather Watch as we continue to track this spring-style nor'easter. Some areas have had over a foot of snow in parts of the Northwest Hills, widespread power outages, and a legitimate snowstorm on their hands. Others have seen mostly rain, so your opinion of this storm really depends on where you live. For much of the day, we've had a break in the action for central Connecticut and eastern areas with some drier air wrapping around the storm. That is now starting to fill back in again, so some areas that haven't seen snow yet today will see their first flakes here as we head through the rest of this afternoon and into tonight. When is this going to wind down? It'll wind down as we head towards the news at 10 and 11 tonight, so we are not done quite yet. And I actually think the worst of the winds will come later this evening as the snow is starting to wind down and the storm rapidly drops in pressure. We could see gusts up around or over 40 miles per hour and variable travel conditions as we head through the evening. Temperatures are still above freezing across a lot of the state, but any additional snow that falls in a quick burst could result in snow-covered or slushy roads. If it's coming down at a lighter pace, it won't be able to really stick outside of the Northwest Hills. Here's a look at how much additional snow could fall as we head through the evening tonight. A coating up to an inch or two possible for Hartford, for Windham. There could be as much as 2 to 4 for northeastern Connecticut, for Litchfield County, and also the higher elevations of Hartford County. And for the areas that have been hit the hardest, there could be an additional 4 to as much as a half a foot of snow along the shoreline, a coating in spots. And here is what the final snowfall totals will look like with this storm. Many areas here already with a foot or more, but noticing far less as you head towards Hartford and especially for areas south and east of Hartford. We have a special show coming up on the Fox 61 News at 4. We'll get you back to programming, but if you want to stay with us, we'll be continuing this update on Fox 61 Plus. All right, thanks for staying with us here on Fox 61 Plus. Let's take a look at what's going on outside here on the radar, and we'll take a closer look at the Hartford area. I know from looking out the window and driving in here from home earlier today that we are seeing some snow starting to mix in with the rain at the moment. Same is true for Bloomfield, for West Hartford, for Avon. Simsbury has been seeing snow off and on for much of the day today. Manchester hadn't previously seen a single flake. Now it is possible to see some of that snow begin to come down, and we're seeing things fill in here across Middletown, Durham, Haddam. Mostly rain, but some snowflakes are beginning to mix in, and we know that because you guys have written in and told us about it. And we're seeing rain right now for Guilford. It has been snowing like crazy in parts of western Connecticut, Southbury, Naugatuck, Middlebury, even Waterbury getting in on the snow. But as you head up in elevation, that's where it's been able to stick a lot more easily. And these are the areas here, Norfolk, Goshen, New Hartford, and Heartland that have really been hit the hardest. Northeastern Connecticut, which hasn't seen very much, if any, snow today, is now starting to see some of the flakes come back in again. Putnam, Pomfret, Woodstock, we know much has not been able to stick today, but now as we push forward, you could see a little bit of a coating out there. So pushing forward, here's what the future radar looks like. Where you're seeing pink, I don't want you to assume this is ice. It's just kind of the computer model's way of saying temperatures are really borderline. So even though it might be falling as snow, it might be mixing in with some rain, it's doing a good job of showing where it may have a little bit more trouble accumulating. And notice that's going to be the valley locations, southern Connecticut, and the immediate shoreline. But as we head through time, we continue to bring that snow back in again, and it even travels as far south as potentially the Connecticut shoreline. It's still snowing at 8 o'clock at night, but things are starting to get lighter after that point. And as we head towards and after the news at 10 and 11. We could see a few lingering scattered snow showers, but we're not anticipating anything else significant. The temperatures have really helped us out today as far as road conditions go outside of the hills. New Milford, Torrington, you guys are close to freezing, as have been for much of the day today. It hasn't helped you that temperatures are above freezing, because that means a lot of the snow that's ended up falling has been really heavy. It's been wet in consistency, pasty, and tough to move. move. But outside of it, where temperatures are a few degrees warmer, the snow that's falling is just melting because of those warmer temperatures. So you've got something good about the warmer temperatures and something bad about those marginal temperatures as well. Taking a look at wind gusts, you're seeing that they are not too bad right now, 25, 30 miles per hour. But I actually think as we head through the evening tonight, we may end up seeing our worst gusts after the storm is starting to wind down. So this is 8 o'clock. We could see gusts 35, 40 miles per hour. And there may be gusts overnight and into Wednesday that are as high as around 45 miles per hour. The National Weather Service has issued a wind advisory for the immediate shoreline, and that starts tonight and continues into the day tomorrow. So for tonight, snow early on, and then we'll see things taper off as we head through the day tomorrow. Windy conditions, maybe a lingering flurry with highs close to 40 degrees. I wanted to give you a closer look at snowfall totals that we've already seen. Barkhamsted, whew, closing in on 1.5 feet fast. East Heartland over a foot of snow. West Simsbury, again, this is in Hartford County, but at elevation, and we're getting different snowfall totals in Simsbury depending on where you look. High in elevation versus low in elevation. The same is true for Torrington. I've heard someone say they had 3 inches in Torrington, and on the other side, as you head up in elevation, there's been 10-inch reports in Torrington. So again, it's all about elevation even within a given town. Winstead, 8 inches of snow, 4.5 for Windsor Locks, which makes it sadly one of the bigger snow events of the season. And Waterbury about a couple of inches. Here's a picture from Matt in Heartland, and this was from this morning at 9 a.m. Already had about a foot of snow on the ground. And unfortunately, again, we continue to hear about power outages in northwestern Connecticut because of the heavy, wet, pasty nature of the snow. It is weighing things down like trees and power lines. Just to look at where we came from earlier last night, we were seeing rain for a lot of eastern Connecticut. Then we ended up getting into the dry slot of the storm with some drier air wrapping around the circulation of the center of this area of low pressure. And that ended up cutting off precipitation for a good chunk of the day. But now you'll see things starting to kind of fill back in again. And that is a trend that we'll see continue as we head through the evening tonight. Updated watches, alerts, advisories from the National Weather Service. You'll see a winter storm warning in effect for all of northern Connecticut. But I would say it's the higher elevations that are the greatest concern in the Hartford area. Clearly in the Hartford area, we have not seen much snow through the day today, and the roads are okay. But in southern areas, in Fairfield and New Haven counties, there is a winter weather advisory where we've seen more accumulation than the rest of the southern half of the state. There's also a wind advisory, again, that's in effect for the immediate shoreline and also parts of eastern Connecticut, rather, with gusts that could get over 45 miles per hour. I don't expect a lot of outages here in southern Connecticut. There could be a few just due to a down branch or a tree limb, but really the greatest concern for outages continues to be in the areas that got the most snow, and that's in northwestern Connecticut. However, because we have these winds continuing on the backside of this storm, that might make it harder for crews to get up in their bucket trucks and kind of get the power back and restored. So that's something that we'll have to watch even after the storm moves out, some lingering impacts into tonight and tomorrow. And tonight, temperatures will be in the upper 20s to right around 30 degrees. So it is going to be a cold night for those without power. Luckily, that's not an issue for most of the state, but for a few of us, especially in the hills, it will remain a concern into tomorrow. All right, that's your update for now. We're going to keep updating you here on Fox 61 Plus, fox61.com, and of course,